JunkMr3 here, and I'm back again with a new video. And in this video I'm going to talk about 10 horror movies that I think is very underrated. Anyway, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and I just picked 10 because I know there's a lot of underrated horror movies out there, but I just picked 10 to make it a little bit more simple for me to make the video. And I also want to say that I actually watched Sleepaway Camp today with my mother, and we both thought that it was a really nice movie. And of course I've seen it before, and I really love that movie. That's another horror movie that I think is very underrated. But let's begin with the 10 movies that I think is underrated. First off, we got Pumpkinhead from 1988, of course. I think this is really underrated. I think Lance Henriksen made a fantastic job in this movie, and I really love this witch in the movie as well, called Higgins or something like that. I can't really remember the witch name, but it was something like that. Yeah, what can I say more about this? This is fantastic, nothing to complain about. I think it's extremely underrated because it got like 6.0 something like that on the movie database, and yeah, that's really bad for that kind of movie. And next up is Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid. I actually prefer this one more than the first movie. This is the sequel, and I think this movie is even better than the first one. I don't even have the third one or the fourth one because those two movies are really bad. But this movie is, I mean, it's not really the best horror movie in the world, but it's enjoyable, and yeah, I can watch it over and over again. I never get tired of it, and that's the reason why I think it's very underrated. I think it's pretty underrated because of all the snakes in the movie. I think they are very badly made, and yeah, all that, but I still think it's really underrated. And the next movie that I think is very underrated, in my opinion, that is Incubus from 2005, starring Tara Reid right there, and I think she's been in some kind of American Pie movies, I don't really know, but yeah, I think so. And I don't think really many people like this movie. Personally, I love it. I've seen it over and over again. I think it's some kind of, I don't really know why I like it. I like the feeling in the movie. I know very many think this is a really crappy movie because it got really bad rating on the movie database. I think it got like 3 or something like that, just like that. So, but I love it personally, so that's just my opinion. So yeah, so I really love this movie. I think it's underrated. And another slasher movie from the 80s that I think is very underrated is Silent Night, Deadly Night. And of course this is the first one from 1984. Yeah, I really love the concept of the Santa Claus killer. Really nice concept for a slasher movie, and love the effects, and I really love these old school horror movies. And I like this actor who played the Santa Claus killer. Can't really remember his name, but yeah, nothing else to say more about this movie. But I can say like this, that the second one, the sequel, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, that movie was, I mean, you had to see half of this movie in the second movie as well, so that was really annoying. So, but I'm still going to buy the third one, fourth one, and the fifth one as well, because I don't have them in my collection. But yeah, anyway, here we got the first one anyway, and that's really underrated if you ask me. And another horror movie in a franchise that I think is very underrated, probably one of my favorite in the whole series, and that is Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And I don't really know why I think this is so underrated, but I think I really love these characters in the movie. I know there's almost the same thing in all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, but I really love those bad guys in this movie. Not really a Leatherface, but the other ones, they're really awesome, like Viggo Mortensen. He did an amazing job in this movie. And the other guy with like the blind eye, I don't really know if he was blind or something like that, but can't remember his name, but I really loved him as well. Yeah, probably the most underrated horror sequel that I know. Yeah. And another movie that I've already mentioned in my some of my previous videos that I think is very underrated, and that is Wes Craven's Shocker. I have spoken about this movie in my previous videos. I'm not really going to go that deep into it, but I think it's really underrated, and I think it's almost as good as the Nightmare on Elm Street movie, so yeah. Anyway. And another horror movie from the 80s that I think is pretty underrated as well is Witchboard. I don't really know if it's really that famous, this movie, but I just seen it one time. Probably I don't have to pick it in this video if I just seen it like one time, but I actually loved it the first time that I saw it, and I know there's not a lot of gore and all that. It's more like a creepy, dark movie. I don't really know how to describe it, but I think it's still underrated. And it had a really nice concept and all that, so got nothing else to say about that movie, but yeah, Witchboard. And another horror sequel that I think is pretty underrated as well is Pet Sematary 2. And I don't really know why the reason why I think this is underrated. I think it's because of Edward Furlong. I think very many people think he made a really bad acting in this movie, but I personally didn't really think that. What didn't bother me as anyway. So I think it's really underrated. I still think the first one is even better. The first one is fantastic. I really love that movie. That's probably one of my all-time favorite Stephen King based movies. So, and I still love this one as well. Clancy Brown is the name of the crazy sheriff in this movie, and I think he did a really great job in this movie, and can't really understand why it got really that low rating on the movie database, but yeah, Pet Sematary 2. And another horror movie that Edward Furlong has the main role in is Brain Scan, and I've seen this movie a lot of times as well, and I really love this guy right here, the trickster in the movie. He's really crazy and funny at times, and I don't really think it's scary. It's more entertaining and really awesome to see, and I never get bored of it, and it got really nice soundtrack as well. Yeah, what can go wrong with this movie? I've seen it a lot of times, and as I said before, the trickster is awesome in this movie, and I also love the sheriff that is played by what's his name, Langella. Langella is his last name. I can't really remember his first name, but Langella anyway. He did a really nice job as well in this movie. It was really annoying in the movie, but that made the movie even better, if you ask me. So yeah, Brain Scan. And the last horror movie that I think is pretty underrated as well is Maniac Cop, that is made by William Lustig, and it was released. It was made in 1988. And I know, like, if you like all the Freddy vs. Jason, not Freddy vs. Jason, what I'm talking about. If you like all the Friday the 13th movies, and if you like all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies and all that, then you will definitely like this one as well, Maniac Cop. I have seen the second one as well, Maniac Cop 2. and I think the second one is almost as good as the first one. A little bit of the same class. I haven't seen the third one yet, but I will see that movie as well as soon as possible. But this is a must-see if you haven't seen it, and it also has Bruce Campbell in the movie as well, so what can go wrong? It's an amazing movie, if you ask me. Pretty underrated slasher, if you ask me. I don't know if it's a slash or whatever you call it, some kind of slasher anyway. Yeah. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you didn't get bored. And the next time I'm going to make the next video, I'm probably going to... maybe I'm going to make a DVD update, or I'm going to talk about my favorite slasher movies. And when I make my favorite slasher movies, I'm not going to be really that mainstream, like picking like the classics like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street or Scream or all like that. I'm more going to be not really that mainstream, so it will be a little bit more interesting. So thank you for watching my videos, and hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.